and many of the design and the structure of the program, of course, is approved by the university, and we follow the best practice. But many of those features are following my little brain, and some of them works, some of them don't. So we'll continue to improve the program. So we're going to go to some of the feature today, and my hope, and I hope that you share the vision, is that this computer science online program will be the most innovative, will always look into the best practice of pedagogy, learning science, and computer science curriculum, and we provide the highest accessibility and quality to our students. So that means when we teach this class or we design the class, we continuously look for the best practice. And so far, we are not sure we are the best, but we are pretty sure we are the first. We are the only program in the entire California public university system that offer an online computer science program. So far we have a very good draw. We have more students than we can take care of. But with your help, we can even make the program better. And Claudia, I want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure. So my name is Claudia, and I have been with the program since it first started as the academic advisor and also program coordinator. So I help the students register to the classes, but I also help them through the whole application process, and I help them figure out what general education requirements they're missing and any prereqs that they're missing. So I really get to know the students from the very beginning.
Great. So from the student point of view, Claudia is their one point of contact for anything not course related, right? When they apply, when they get admitted, registration, payment, and towards the end, graduation, the whole student services is taken care of by Claudia. Right?
Yep.
Okay,
One
good.
man show here.
So let me go to Brian. Brian's existing faculty, and Brian wants to introduce yourself.
Well, okay, hello. My name is Brian, and I co-teach a class with Dr. Cal CSD 300, the first class in the computer science program, and I teach the writing lab. I have 2 papers that I assign, pretty lengthy papers, and I do my best to be supportive of the students throughout the course. Thank you.
Okay, and Brian has been helping me to design and teach the course for over a year now. So he is not only going to teach the class again with me, but he is also a resource. When you have a question about the online learning system or some of the prior experience of teaching in the program, Brian definitely is a resource. Is that right, Brian?
Thank you.
Okay. Kayla, you want to?
Sure. Hi everyone. So I've been Dr. Tao's TA since August, and I've been helping with this first cohort of students. So I actually kind of know the students pretty well since I was the TA for the first class. Dr. Tao likes to call me the Learning Management System Specialist. So I help out with iLearn and do all of that kind of thing. And kind of like and if I'm not a TA, like helping with tutoring the students or anything, I am still the point of contact for helping with iLearn if there's any questions.
So Kayla, I'm really familiar with how iLearn functions, and she graduated from our program. So she often, not only when she helped us and each of you design your courses, she could be not only a helpful designer, but she can tell you that from a student point of view, this one doesn't work, this one worked well. So she's a valuable resource. She finished her degree 2 months ago.
Yeah, May.
And she now is in our graduate program, so we can have her for at least another 18 months.
Yeah.
So it's all planned. That is good. So let me David, can you introduce yourself?
Hi. So I'm David Wisniewski. I have worked at CSUMB, I guess, for a year now, but I was teaching over in the math department. And I've also been teaching at the community college in Monterey, the job class, and a few other computer science classes. So this will be my first experience working in computer science at CSU, as well as my first experience doing a totally online class. But I'm looking forward to it, and it's great to be working with Eric and Kayla and Brian and everybody else.
So David, thank you for joining us. And David, our plan is to have you design and teach the software engineering class.
Yes, I saw your note about that. So.
And David come to us with many years in IBM. So that experience.
I guess I didn't mention that. I went to school 35 or 36 years ago. I went to school at University of Colorado. I mean, back in then, they didn't really have a course on software engineering. It was something that you just kind of learned on the job. But I didn't work for IBM for 31 years, and we used a lot of software engineering on all of that.
That's great.
I have lots of good stories to tell.
That's good. Part of that software engineering is real hands-on experience, because often the textbook cases is very dry. You have to put into your real experience, and I think you're perfect for that class.
Thank you.
JC, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Jesse Cecil, and I teach at the College of the Siskiyous. It's way up north in the town of Weed, right by the base of Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
I've been teaching online courses there for about 8 of the 11 years that I've been there. So a lot of Java, and PHP, MySQL, game design, web design, that kind of stuff. So anyway, so I'm excited to get started at CSU. Looking forward to it.
Great. So let me switch to, I think I want to show you the screen, the second one, and I'm going to put this, recursive, I'm going to put this document so I can use this as a guide for our conversation. So I'm going to spend just maybe 5-6 minutes quickly go through I consider the unique feature of our program. And I believe I shared this document with all the faculty. If I haven't, let me know. I'm more than happy to send it. This is a very long job description of our faculty members. I sent it out to a few job sites. So the CS Online program are quite different from our traditional program. The CS Online program designed for students that, of course, want to finish a computer science degree, probably already have some technology experience. Many of them already working in the high-tech industry. The incoming requirement for admission is that they already finish most, if not all, of the GE courses plus the 4 prerequisites. So the degree program is a degree completion. That means we only do the junior year and senior year. It's a 2-year program. So students come to us with GE and preparation course done. And we expect 4 courses in the computer science done before they start, although we sometimes give them a little bit of leeway. The 4 courses are Computer Science 1 or Introduction to Programming. The second course is Computer Science 2 or Data Structure. Some other places may use the title Object-Oriented, but basically it's the second course of programming. The third course we require them to do is operating system. Hopefully something in Linux or Unix, plus a little bit of a shell script. So it's more of a hands-on operating system class. The last class is computer architecture. It's only hardware requirement we have in the program. So of the four, if they have the four, they should be well prepared for the program. That's CS1, CS2, operating system, and computer architecture. So after that, they come to our program. Our program is very cohort-based. I mean, about 40 students will come in. We expect about 50 to 60 students will apply. We will take about 40 to 45, and usually, I'm so sorry. Usually, about 40 students will start, and although we hope that we have all of them graduate on time, but realistically, I think we will have about 20 to 25 graduate on time. So when they say on time, that means they finish the 2-year degree. It's an 11 course plus 1 elective, and they should finish the whole thing in about 100 weeks. Questions so far?
I just wanted to comment that we do admit about 45 students, but we actually receive over 100 applicants.
That's right.
For this fall cohort, we actually received 160 applicants. So
Yes.
You said 50.
Yes. I hope, because the program quality is so good, but it could be we are the only one, that we do attract a lot of interested students. But thanks to Claudia, she does a great job connecting and recruiting students. So going back to the kind of unique feature, I could quickly, I think most of you kind of know this, but I quickly go through this, so kind of review the differences between our CS Online program to a traditional on campus. So every course is 4 credit, and every course is 8 week long, and that's a very precise schedule, and the student will know exactly the class will start, will end, and it's always 8 weeks. And they only get a little bit of break in Christmas, a little bit of break in July 4th. Other than that, it's a 6 term per year, and they go year round. They go in a mostly cohort base. That means they start with 40. The 40 student will go with them all 100 weeks, and they really build a strong bond among them. So students take one course at a time, so they can really focus, and they were not going to tell you that, oh, I have other 2 finals to take, sorry, I couldn't do this. In our design, the students should take one course at a time. And they are taking a 4-unit course. That means they should spend about 12 to 20 hours a week on our course. So this is pretty heavy load. This is not kind of casual study. The size of the class typically is about 40 in the beginning, about 20 at the end of that 2 years. Towards the end, of course, there's some attrition. This is not a not easy degree. So when you teach the course, well, when we teach the course, the workload in the course, it depends on how well you prepare the course. If you design everything beforehand, then your workload is probably on 8 hours a week. If you have to infuse a lot of kind of the last moment connection or material, you probably want to spend about 16 hours a week. So it's pretty heavy. You have to be careful, because we compress the 16 weeks of 4-unit class into 8 weeks. And we try to make the pedagogy as consistent as possible. That means every 8-week class start with a real-time, interactive, 90 minutes online orientation. And we try to make it consistent on Saturday morning from 9 to 10:30. So you should start thinking about that, block out that time. We usually have a technician to facilitate your online session, so you don't have to worry too much about the technology. But you should block out the time and expecting that is your orientation. And also that's a good chance for you to meet face-to-face with the students. We use a technology called Zoom.us. And when the time comes, I will orient faculty to use that system. It's a very effective way to broadcast your meeting. So we come to kind of 8 weeks. Every week is exactly, every module is exactly 1 week long. We typically release the publish that week module on Wednesday morning, and the student then work on the reading, assignment, discussion. Most of them would do majority of the work on weekends. That's why we put this Wednesday to Tuesday. And most of the deadline is end on the Tuesday nights. Then the next Wednesday we start the next module. So that's kind of the rhythm. We put the weekend in the middle of their week so they can, because many of them will be working. So we put the learning kind of the time in the middle, expecting most of them would do the study during the weekend. And when you are teaching and designing the course, we will arrange a 30 minutes update meeting between among you, myself, Claudia also participate, give us an update on registration, and also a teaching assistant. So we will schedule that using Google Calendar, and we will use Google Hangout to do a 30 minutes update meeting during the time you design the program at the class, and definitely during the 8 weeks when you are teaching the class. So you're expecting that meeting will be scheduled, and typically we'll schedule that on either Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, right?
Yeah. Normally it was on Wednesday, but due to it, Wednesday and Tuesday are the best days.
Yeah.
Since that's the beginning of the week.
Okay. Thanks, Kayla. Mm-hmm. So that we have the resource of teaching assistant. Usually it's a student like Kayla or someone else already been to the program. You have 10 hours a week. That person have like 3 different roles. One is, of course, help us to review the content of the module to make sure everything makes sense to the students. That student assistant can have office hour to help students with more kind of basic questions, answer some basic question like, how do you submit homework, when is the homework due, and the student can do some basic grading, although the majority of grading should be done by the faculty. So just remember we have a 10 hours a week resource to you. That also means that when you teach a class, you probably want to know the student well, because you might want to ask some of them to become the teaching assistant in the future. Okay. And we do have a lot of support for your instructional design and when you do the instruction. The university have a whole office called Center for Academic Technology, also called CAT. They provide all the support we need for online course design. If you have a question about the iLearn system, they are more than happy to help. And many of them are our graduates, so they know our pedagogy well. So just when you know that when you teach or design a course, there's a whole team behind you. You're not going to do this alone. And also the team, the good thing is that they will support you. The kind of the limitation is that everyone will remind you that you should follow certain standards. So they become also the kind of guidance for the online course design. So this one is important. We try to make the program as collaborative and interactive as possible. So although all the course content, all the video assignment could be pre-designed, maybe even a year ago, but our requirement is that every week the faculty should record a 3 to 5 minutes greeting or reminder or saying hi only for that group of students. So the student will know that faculty is there with them learning throughout the 8 weeks. So we really don't want to design a course, just send it out to student and kind of faculty disappear from the course. So this is one way we ensure the faculty have some real engaged time. But it's not long. So what I do usually is on the Wednesday morning, I will say hi to them, say, this week we are going to focus on this learning, and last week your assignment done well, and especially someone's assignment is great. You should all look at them. Or I would say, overall, the quality of the assignment is problematic. Most of them make certain errors. So this is the greeting every week. You should prepare, hopefully about maybe Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. And because the courses go really fast, so it's only 8 weeks. So if you miss a week of assignment grading, then the student will be lost for another week, then quickly become student will be lost. So our requirement is that within the week of the student submit assignment, they should be graded. Hopefully faster than that, but definitely before the next week's assignment is due, the previous week's assignment should be graded. And unless you have a very special reason, we request everyone use the iLearn gradebook, which means that every student can check their grade all the time. So you won't get many emails say, oh, what kind of grade am I getting? Am I going to pass the class? And that is because the gradebook is all done online. We really emphasize this learning journal. That means students every week spend about 10-15 minutes to reflect upon what they have learned in that week, and that is public. Our request, of course this is request because if you teach the class you have the authority over the grading. We request that this either be an extra credit or take 5 to 10% of the class grade. This is done so that all of us, including the people who are not teaching the class, can know how a student going through. And this also get the student to appreciate the program is not just 12 courses. It's a continuous process for 2 years. And I want to let everyone know there will be a weekly learning survey. Only have 5 questions. Very simple questions. Say, what are the things you have learned this week? What's the most difficult part of this week? Is the pace going too fast and too slow? Student probably take 1 minute to finish that. We are going to send, Claudia are going to send this out every week. So you, in addition to the final student evaluation of our teaching, there will be a weekly quick survey. So for all of us to monitor the student learning. So that is, in a big nutshell, what that kind of the feature of the program. Hopefully it's not too dry. Okay, not all of you are sleeping other than Claudia. Sorry. So any question on kind of the set of feature we try to put this program together?
Mm-hmm.
David?
So, is there any attempt to keep the online courses similar to, equivalent classes that you teach, in face to face at the university? Because I know you have a software engineering class there. So
Yes, that's a
do you
very
use
good
common
question.
textbooks? Do you use common final exams or?
No. So curriculum and requirement are the same. So the learning outcome of each course should be identical between the face-to-face and online one. But beyond that, we always share the syllabus, share the teaching material, but there's no requirement beyond the learning outcome that the online class and face-to-face class has to be the same. So, yeah, the only common is the curriculum and requirement are the same, and we have to fulfill the same outcome. But we don't have to use the same textbook or use the same final exam.
Okay.
JC, any question from you?
Looks like are you thinking about adding some other cohorts because there's so many students applying? And if so, do the cohorts mix at all or not? Are they completely held separate? Any thoughts along those lines?
So of course, the ideal case is that we take 40 of them in the fall, and in 100 weeks, all 40 going to graduate with a straight A. Of course, that's not going to happen. So some
I
students
think
would.
if I gave them all A's, you'd look at me funny.
That's right. That's right. Well, you never know. Maybe they're all outstanding. So many of them will drop because they fail a course, so they couldn't have the prerequisite to continue. So they have to wait a year or wait 6 months. Some of them because the other circumstances in their life they will drop, but they can come back. So I would say 60, 70 of the student will continue to the end, but there will be student coming back in the middle. Okay. But we don't take new student from the middle. So every student start from the beginning, but they might take a break in the middle. Okay. So in terms of the size of the program, so far, I think we have done our job okay, and there's really no competitor in our special kind of domain, the California Public University. So we have a pretty large number of students interested. Our plan is to taking a cohort of 45 at the end of August, so that will be our second cohort. Our third cohort will be taking in the beginning of January, so that will be another 40 to 45. Then our debate is that in the fall 2016, do we want to take in two cohorts? That means taking about 90 students, or we continue to take one. Although this is kind of my thinking, it might not be realized, is that I would like us to be the kind of the only one, not only the largest one, but the most popular computer science program, if not in California, but in the nation, which means the size will give us some prominent and some resource. What does that mean? If you look at across the United States, the online program, the largest one, probably taking about, not that large, maybe about 300 or 400 students per year. So I want to be similar to that. So our ultimate goal is to taking about 5 or 6 cohort per year. Can we actually do that? I don't know. The plan is that, think about, we have 6 terms per year, right? So if you look at the calendar year, look at the academic year, the fall we start in August, then the second term start in November. So there's a 6 term per year. I think the ultimate goal could be we taking one cohort every term. So the student, when they are interested, they don't have to wait for a year or 6 months. Every 8 weeks, there is a new cohort start. That means every class is offered every term. Then we have a consistency, and people teaching this can make your class so much better because you're always teaching that class. So that's our goal. But in the short term,
the more you teach the same class, the better you get at it. I totally agree with that.
That's right. That's right. So in the short term, we're going to take in 2 cohorts of about 40 to 45 per year.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, that's a great goal because if a student has to drop a class, they can just switch right into it next term.
That's right.
Fantastic.
They don't have to wait any time longer to just continue. You can just repeat the class the second term.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. That's good plan.
Yeah. So thank you. Let me see. So in terms of the kind of logistic, I will make sure everyone understands CSU is a big, scary, bureaucratic organization. So there are many people need to say yes in order for a contract to go out. So I will make a recommendation to the chair and the dean. The dean will sign it and have HR check it. HR will check, probably have some background check. Then you get a contract. So although so far when I recommend someone, I haven't got any rejection. So, but you just have to know. I have to let people know the small print. Okay. Let me go back to our curriculum. I want to show you the set of courses student go through. I want to make sure I don't want to share the screen. Thank you, Kayla.
Mhm.
That's why I need you here. Okay. Okay, let me share the screen so we can look at the curriculum structure together. So this is cohort 1. That means this is the first cohort we have. We are now over, wait, we are now over here. Okay, we are now over here. So student will finish the course I am teaching at the end of August. So the next course we have in mind is the software engineering.
Software design.
The software design, which is really is Java, more advanced Java. So that one we are planning to have Jesse design and teach it. Is that okay, Jesse? Jesse?
Sorry, my microphone was muted. I forgot. Yes, that's going to be just great.
Okay. So students already know programming well. This one's quickly introduce Java, but really kind of drive through the object-oriented concept in Java. So the next one, so this two, we are still debating. Probably we'll go like this. So the next class will be November to December. David, I know you have a full teaching load, so I'm a little bit concerned that will you be able to teach this class in November, December this year?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I should be able to prepare. I mean, it's good that it's starting in November.
Yes.
Does it start? When is the starting date? It's like November 1st?
Yeah, typically it's very close to, very aligned to the month. So it's the very beginning of November until December 20th.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, yeah, I think I will be ready. I'll probably have to work with Jesse to see what he's covering.
That's good.
In software design to make sure that I don't, duplicate anything or assume something that, he's not covering.
Okay.
But, yeah, I'll be ready.
So in the software engineering class, there's another, so other than learning software engineering and the student should do a project, doing that, they should also prepare for their final capstone proposal. So I will work closely with you. That's a kind of a small project they have to do in your class. So they are prepared towards the end.
Okay.
And the algorithm classes will be taught by Anand Saratham, and he's preparing for that. I am still looking for faculty to teach this kind of unique class. Is that as a software developer or as a software engineer, they need to know ethics and professional practice. So I'm still looking for faculty to do that. I plan to co-teach 499 probably with Brian, and that will be the end. The summer elective, we are still looking for solutions, but not yet. So this structure of the 12 courses will be repeated for every student. Okay. Any question on that? Okay. Let's go back to our schedule. No, I'm sorry.
Is that the same kind of sequence that you see a lot of your other bachelor majors taking? Or you said, I guess, the ethics class is new, but are the rest of them pretty much what everybody else face-to-face takes?
It's the same curriculum, including ethics. But the good thing about our design is that because there's no parallel course, so one course can really depends on the outcome of the previous course.
Yeah.
The other courses, because all 3-4 classes are going parallel, so their checkpoint is only 4. That we have 11 checkpoints. So I think my hope is that our computer science program, not a kind of less desirable way to learn, it will become a better way. Some student will choose our online program instead of a face-to-face because we putting the best pedagogy and putting this it's learning method that is probably better for the learner.
That actually brings me to another question. Can a student take one of these as face-to-face and then, jump out of the cohort and back in? Is that allowed, or?
To me, that should be allowed, but the student in this program pay differently, so we are still struggling with that.
Okay.
Claudia, can you give us what's the latest decision if student can take our other face-to-face class and transfer unit in?
So as of now, because these students are considered extended education students, they can take classes that are face-to-face only during the summer and winter session classes.
I see.
During the fall and spring, they cannot.
Okay.
And most computer science classes are not offered normally face-to-face through CSUMB.
That's right. That's right. But they do. Something that had happened is that they can take other university class with approval and transfer those units in to fulfill one or multiple requirement of these 12 courses.
During the summer and winter session.
During the summer, yeah. But there's a limit. I think they can only do 2 because they have to have at least 30 units from CSUMB to get a CSUMB degree. So
yeah, there's a 36 units have to be from the program.
Okay. Okay, and good. Any problem? Any question right now? So I think I will spend the next about 10 minutes and to show you a typical online class, how it look like, and that I will show you a template, and we try to follow that template as much as possible. But don't worry, when you design the class, myself and Kayla will be there to help you to make sure that we design the course in a very consistent way, so students don't have to learn how to learn in every different class. Okay. So I am going to show you. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm going to log in. I'm just logging now. So I'm going to show you the system called iLearn. It's based on a open source learning management system called Moodle. And I'm going to log in. I think I'm already logging. So I'm going to show you a very typical class. I think we use the internet programming as a sample. So let me show you that. I hope this is okay, so this is okay. Let me make it a little bit larger. So this is how the students see a class. Okay, so
Command plus.
yes, thank you. Can you see the class? Do you see the CST 336 internet programming class? Okay, I assume there's no objection. So you can see that the class is organized in 3 panels. On the left side, you have some course info like syllabus, schedule, and team. And you have instructor information is always available. In this case, Dr. Su is the instructor, including the TA's office hour and contact information. And this list of resource, we try to keep it the same. The library, the tech support, academic support, disability resource, and counseling center. You can put other things here, so this panel is consistent throughout the semester. In the middle is, if you look at, I'm going to scroll down all the way down, you can see every module look very similar. I'm going to go through the basic design with you. So obviously there are 8 modules. Every class has 8 modules. And we have a so-called week 0 or module 0 is the beginning. These pages will be there all the time. So typically we have the logo, and we have a page tells students how to prepare for the class. And we have a forum, and that's usually only posted by the faculty, staff, and TA. This is a broadcast. The student cannot post in this one. And we have another forum. The student posts questions, and if it's a private question, they will send email to the faculty or TA. If it's a question they believe other student can benefit, they will post it here. And our standard is that questions are answered within 24 hours. You don't have to be on this site all the time, but our request is that you log in at least half an hour every day to answer some of the questions by the students. And every module look like this. So you have the module title, you have a date of the module, and this is important. The CSUMB really emphasize on outcomes. So every week, we not only list the topic, we list of kind of items student can do. So at the end of this module 1 of this class, students should be able to create a web page using basic HTML tag, or and so on. So every week, we have a list of outcomes, and we usually include some kind of eye candy. We call it eye candy. It's some kind of a graphics to set the stage for the class, and also kind of lighten up each module. So let's look at module 1. So if you click here, you can see the whole much more detail of the module. So you can see, I don't know if you can actually see this, but this is the 3 minutes greeting by a faculty. It's just a picture. Okay, that's right. So usually there's a video. Then every module have maybe some faculty will have a pre-test to verify student learned something before. And this is your typical reading. This replace the kind of classroom instruction. There's a reading, sometimes there's a video. So this is your kind of online lecture. And every item have this checkbox. So when student access them, either themselves or the system will check for them. So we use this to help students to manage their progress. Then there's a set of assignments. There's an assignment. Every week, students need to do a weekly journal. And some faculty require select 1 or 2 students to record a video to other students about their assignment done. So this is similar to in a classroom, you point to say, hey, Kayla, come to the whiteboard and show us how do you solve that problem. So this kind of increase the interaction of the students. And also assignments. We like the assignment, at least one of the many assignments in every week to be collaborative. That means they can only finish assignment with help from other team members. So we try to put together in a team of 4 to 6, and we try to have some kind of group activity every week. So then that's a typical week is like that. Again, a typical week will have a list of outcome, a greeting video from the faculty just for that week, just create for that week for that group of students, a set of reading that might take 3-4 hours, and a set of assignment including discussion, journal, maybe additional material for them to go through. And most of the time, the deadline is on Tuesday, just a few minutes before deadline. So that's how it looks like every week. Of course, the finals week is different. Finals week, often there's no additional reading. It's just a final. Okay, let me go back. And let me talk about a little bit about the final. I encourage faculty to do final as authentic as possible. Meaning, if we can use projects, research, presentation, those will be better than a written test. But some classes are so informational, so the written test is required. We can do 3 type of final. One is an honor system. You send that on the iLearn. You tell everyone have 24 hours to finish, upload the file, and you can grade them. That's one way. The other way is to have a automatic quiz based. So iLearn will have the quiz system. You can have 50 questions, multiple choice. It's graded all by the system. The moment they finish the assignment, the final, it's graded. The last one is a proctor test. Okay, we can do two type of proctor. One is that say Sunday. Most of the time we do Sunday afternoon final. Sunday afternoon, the final will be emailed or posted on the learning management system, so every student receive a final. Then they all have to log into the video conference system like this one. Then, if I'm a student, I'm going to just do my test right here, and you or a TA or both going to watch them over the internet. Make sure their brother-in-law are not behind them, or something else. So, is that an absolute best way to do it? Maybe not, because the brother-in-law could be in front of the screen and you don't know, right? But at least that gives them a little bit of deterrence. And the good thing is that if they have any question about the final, they can just click on the screen, raise their hand, and you can answer that to the whole class. Okay, so that is, if you want to do proctor, we recommend doing it on a Sunday afternoon. Either TA can do it or you can do it. It usually is at 2 hours. So we don't require a written final. Actually, my personal recommendation is try to do a project final, maybe with a little bit of quiz. But if you want to do a final, that's perfectly fine. Okay. I think that's that. Sorry it's dragging on a bit long.